Hello and welcome back to Jesse's Vintage Garage, and right now we're getting ready to work on the 56 finally. We're going to work on the bottom end here and get the bearings set in, and then work on putting the flywheel in and the crank pretty much, get it in here. And these are still, I got them still in the package here, or the packaging that they gave me after they got done cleaning this stuff up. And we're ready to take them out and work on it. But first off, starting off in this video, I'm going to work on this toolbox here in the background while working on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on getting the chrome off of this original 55 through 57 style toolbox here that I picked up at the 2024 Davenport swap meet this in 2024. Anyway, what makes this a real 55 through 57 toolbox is they don't reproduce the 55 through 57 toolbox. Replica ones are all the way from 40, when this teardrop style toolbox came out in 1940, all the way to 57 with the ribbed, right? And they all have the key thing that goes in here. And then in 58 they changed it. They made it smooth. And well, 56 needs a ribbed one, but it takes a special one. What makes this special is the fact that this one here that I picked up is an original one. It's just been chrome plated for some reason because the person wanted it to be chrome. It's kind of a not high quality chrome because it started to go away after a while there. And as old as this is, being chrome plated, it probably stood up pretty well. So maybe it wasn't really that bad of chrome when it was first off, but anyways, in 55 they changed the little spanner key that went in here to a quick turn piece that goes in here and threads into this bottom part here. Now, you can't take the other style and make this one out of it, so because it doesn't have this loop here that's built into it. It has a built-in welded in nut originally from factory. You can't see it very well. And otherwise there's a nut in there, threads, and that's what makes the 55 to 57 toolbox only. So I'm gonna repaint this. You'll see that when I'm all done, but I'll look at the polymer book that I have here and verify the type of black paint, if it's, because I've seen it both ways. I've seen it glossy and I've seen it kind of a flat matte black. So, and I think most of the stuff back then was matte black or kind of flat in a way. My 40 has a replica reproduction toolbox on it, and it's kind of a flat black. Or no, that one is glossy on that one. So, because some of the stuff I read that it was supposed to be glossy in that year. So I'm going to find out the truth behind all that and paint it the right way. But in the meantime, I'm going to sandblast this in the background, work on finding the material for the hinge to restore the hinge on this thing so it works right, and then work on getting it painted. So let's move on to work on the cases here. We got the case half over here, and if you remember right in the first video, this was a 58 case half. And we're going to go over the procedure of making this different right side case work with my 56 left side case. It's not a huge deal. This is the upgraded, 58, they upgraded the case, so this is actually a better deal if I can get this to work. And it's real simple. You just got to get a 58 crank and make sure the one side case race fits. It's a little bit larger size starting in 58 compared to the 57 and earlier right side case race. But our original one is all messed up, so we gotta take it out and put a different one in. The other thing that's different on a 58 case is it doesn't require that the strap thing for the generator, because this part here is got larger holes for the holding the 58 model 58 and later generator 58, 61, and 65 will all fit on there. But it still has this part here for the advanced part, and then their relay would sit right here. But in 58's case, it'd be a regulator. But I'll probably end up putting a different setup on it anyway, so it'll end up being a newer relay looking regulator anyway, so it'll all blend in and look really well. But go ahead and get started here. We're going to work on this the inner case race here, and you can see that right here is the 58 part number going forward. So I just want to point that out before we get carried away with working on these races inside of here. So starting off with work on the right side, right case half here on the 56 panhead engine. I got kind of the parts all laid out here, what we're going to be working on. I'm not sure how many sections or how many segments of this whole sequence is going to be of us working on the bottom end, but we're going to start here. So in the previous video, I think it was number 1, we were talking about the panhead engine, bringing it to life. That is a new project I'm trying to get going on. We're ready to start building this bike, but we got to work on the engine. And unfortunately, this race here is got some bad scoring inside of it, and it's smoothish, but it's kind of like not right, because a new one should be really nice and smooth. And here's a replacement one. This is 24599-58B. Has B, and the B at the end means it's been superseded twice now. A would have been the first one. And what they did, which we can see right away, is the oil holes. There's 4 of them in this superseded bearing race from Harley. This is original NOS stuff from, usually their date, yeah, there's the date, 4th month 93. This is an original real deal. And this one here only seems to have 1 hole in it. And we got to make sure that we get this orientated right, because there's actually a galley that actually comes in here, a hole, and then feeds the 1 hole right off to the side here. Or actually, no, this one does not have a hole. That's what the deal was. So the original one didn't have feeding holes. The A had like 1 or 2, and then when the B came out, 58B bushing came out, they added 4 holes to it. And what's really going on is there's like this little hole right here off to the side, and the galley's coming down and feeding this, and it's going into the front of the bearing right here. Well, the new one I'm going to be putting in is way better compared to this one, so that's a plus. And we're going to work on getting this heated up and get it to fall out, so we can turn around and drop this one in and let it cool down. Before we do that, I've already got these a little bit loose, but we got to take these set screws out to lock this. There's 2 on here, 1 up here and 1 down here. We're going to take that out and get ready to heat this up and see if they can fall out easily. So I've kind of put this off for a little bit trying to get to this, because this is a pretty involved situation, this whole segment here, and hopefully we can really knock this out. But anyway, I'm just going to take these out. And what's involved is the fact that when we get this new bushing race, or the bearing race, installed, we're probably going to have to lap this with the other case, and that is something I don't want to mess up. So we're going to really try hard not to mess it up. Anyways, the other thing was I really wanted to get that Triumph done and some other stuff around here done that was a lot closer than having major motor work like this is. So that's another thing. So I didn't really mean to put off this project for all my viewers that are interested in seeing this bike come together, because it's coming up now. So we got them out. We got our heat source right now heating up, and then we're going to go set this on it. Here is the Bruce Palmer book we're going to be pretty much using as our guide. It's really good, a book on all the Harleys, knuckleheads, panheads, and big twin side valves. Anyways, in this page, on this section here, we had it bookmarked. I took the bookmark out, but this is starting off here, replacing the crankcase bearing races. The first paragraph pretty much says that everything we're going to be doing right now here coming up, talking about removing the 2 race lock screws, which we just did. And then it goes on to talking about how, since races have this 0.0025 press fit, heat should be used to remove and install the races. Using ordinary kitchen oven will work. We're going to be using a little bit different heat source because we don't have a kitchen oven here, but it'll be fine. Install a crankcase half into the oven and heat it up to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, which we have a heat temperature device. We'll be able to actually register what the temperature of the case is as we're going. and either we need to slightly help it fall out or it'll fall out on its own. We've done this before with the Norton cases before, so this is going to be right up our alley. We've done this stuff before, but then after that it gets kind of a little bit more difficult. We'll go over that as we get to it. So, okay, it's a couple more things before we get started here. I just want to go over some of these instructions before we just start doing it, because it's going to be hard to explain it while we're doing it, but you'll be able to see it all because you'll be able to understand what happened because we talked about it before. So first off, after the 300 degrees Fahrenheit, we need to clean the new race of all preservative compounds. There's a little bit of some residue on here because it was in this original packaging for all mirrors, and it's not rusty, so it's got stuff on it. We gotta make sure it's clean. It's talking about how, in this next paragraph, it talks about removing the case from the crankcase half from the oven, and drop a drop of water, and it should sizzle on the case. That's how they're trying to tell you that it's 300 degrees. But we got that nice gun we're going to use. A little bit modern technology here. And with the appropriate size plug, press it out slightly, and the race should just come out fairly easy. If the case should cool before installing the new race, which we're going to have to turn around and put it in, bring it back to temperature. And then later down here it talks about how you want to put this in the freezer and let it freeze for a while. So I'm going to be doing that here next, and I'll get that in the freezer going once I get it cleaned up, and then we'll be able to drop it in. It's just the same kind of thing that we did with the transmission rebuild for the 40 UH videos when we were putting that bearing or that gear onto the main shaft. Yeah, it's a pretty neat video. You can look for that series. It was really awesome, and it turned out really good too. Anyways, I'm going to work on getting this cleaned up and get it frozen here. Got the race nice and clean. I'm ready to put it in the freezer now. Just going to set it here. Come back later and see what temperature it is, and we'll see if it's cold enough or not. Alright, we got the original race. We also marked the case right here, so we can easily tell where this needs to orientate when something falls out, and we don't have like trying to remember where it was at when we put the new one in. But otherwise, it's pretty much parallel with the cam bushing here too. So, but that might be a reason for that too. But it's all right. This will be good. Now we're gonna go take this over here and set up the press. So when we slightly press this out, we're ready to go there because we don't want this to cool too fast for us because we need to drop the other one in, the other race in right away. All right. Well, here we are. We got it sitting on here, getting warm. It's not heated up yet.
72.
Let's see that once. Pass this thing. We're looking for 300, so it's climbing. So yeah, 75 now.
What's the oven? Oh.
Down there.
Yeah, the red. 630.
Okay. All right.
So it ought to get pretty warm pretty quick.
All right. So on the race, we're at 190, 200 degrees now.
Yep, 205, 214.
So we'll see if it falls out
Won't
here.
take long.
Checking on the race there, we got -5 or so in here, and the race is coming at about 16 degrees, 7, 6, 5. I don't know, it's somewhere in that area. It's frozen, and I can see it's kind of like frosty looking. So let's get this closed, and we'll come back a little bit later when we're more ready for this. There we are. We got it pretty much 300 degrees. We had to put a couple plates on there to help hold the heat in, but yeah, we're ready to pull this off of here and go press the bearing out.
Got it up to 316 degrees.
Okay. Got it. Go. Here we are with the race out. We're ready to just verify it's back to 300 degrees so we get through the next part. We don't have no problems. We don't, because the aluminum's dissipating that heat really fast. So that's why the whole thing is like talking about make sure you hurry in that Palmer book. So what we got for, we might not have to wait for a long time. So we'll see what we got for temperature here already.
Gotta wait for it to turn on.
Yeah, it's already down to 200.
The race. Inside the edge of the race. There you go.
Well, the race is at About 300.
Yeah, so we should be able to do it. We'll leave it on there. Well, we gotta take it off there because the heat's rising right through it. So
Right. So we'll set on a
we'll set it over here.
set somewhere. Remove the case from the oven. It says here, retrieve the now frozen race from the freezer. Carefully align the race over the crankcase and set it into the crankcase race hole. The race may drop halfway in and will be easily pressed in the rest of the way with the proper size plug. Well, we're using a socket that fits really well. Make sure the race does not get cocked during installation and make sure it is fully seated. A feeler gauge should not fit between the race and the thrust surface of the crankcase, so we'll check that. Okay, so we're like minutes away from putting the race in here, and down there, that closer hole that's off the side right there that you can see, that is the oiling hole going to the race. It feeds the entire race. The original race, still hot, but it's right here. And there's, like I said, there's no oiling holes in this thing. It was purely trying to oil.
Right through there.
Right, is that the only one? Yeah, it's going to that only.
It would come down and just over there and come out at an angle, right at the edge.
Yeah, so this new race is way better. I'm going to show you that in a second. But here's a little groove that the set screw locks into. I got two of them in there. But then the new race, the 58B, has this big long groove that goes all the way around, which is right where this little insert is for the set screw locking screw to go to. Okay, we're about ready to take this out, but there's the spot where the oil's coming into the race, feeds this whole channel, and then the set screws are going to come in here and lock into this channel here. So that's how that's all going to oil. Be really efficient compared to the way it was. So and we know it's frozen because I can see it, and like we're ready to try it. Okay, so there's the race. It's installed and it's cooled down enough to where we can touch it. While we're here, while it's kind of somewhat warm, we're going to install the cam roller bearing that goes in there. Seeing as how this is a 58.
Needle bearing.
Needle bearing. Seeing as how this is a 58 and later case. Now, if this was a true 56 case, it would have had just a bushing there. And this is a special tool that installs it. This is actually more for the Evolution style one, but you got to move it around a little bit, and then these two holes line up. So I got the screws in there ready to go, and now I just gotta grab the bearing and set it down in there. Yeah, the bearing, we gotta make sure you put it in the right way because it's different.
Well, according to the manuals and everything I've ever heard, is that you always put the flat side or the numbered side out when you press in. If you press this other side, it's rounded, and you run the chance of this rolling in further or bending it and crushing these rollers so they don't spin later. So it's got to go this way.
And you can kind of see that this one end is thicker than the other end on the side. See down in there? See how this side here looks thicker than it does over here? Oh yeah.
It's thinner.
Yeah.
And it's radiused.
So
So it would bend.
Yeah, so word's out. And this special tool has a raised spot on it where it can go into the roller bearing, the needle bearing.
Self-lining if we get it to line up. There it goes. There it is. It's all lined up. Yes, it's lined up. Now we just need a wrench here.
Let me crank it in there. Look at this part knocked out. We'll be ready to start test fitting everything.
Yeah, he'll pull that. And with this tool, you just turn down to its solids.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a ledge in the back side of this case that keeps it from going in too far. Sometimes that part of the case is kind of weak there and it actually breaks a little bit, but this tool is set up to where you can actually do it while it's all assembled and in the together, the motor's all together, so it's kind of nice. because the other part of the tool is this one over here, and it actually has the extractor, and you yank it out with this.
There it is, and the rollers turn.
Awesome. Get closer. There we go. Well, after having the cam bearing installed there, we flip it over here, and we're gonna install the race locking set screws right now.
I gotta get a smaller screwdriver.
We don't want these to. We want these to be able to come out someday. But then again, we don't want them to fall out when it's running. So we're gonna get them in there nice and tight. And while it's still kind of warm yet, so. Okay, with them installed here, you can see that there's actually a little dimple there where they kind of damage the threads in a way, so it can't work its way out.
Easy.
Yeah, easily anyway. So we'll just like retouch it, and then.
Whoops. My deal bounced out of there.
And we'll just retouch it, and then it should be okay. Oh, the other thing is that we shot air through here, and we can feel air coming out these holes. That's also a good sign, because we know that oil will flow that way when it drains down. And then the cam, when it's running, it may drain down into here as well, helping more oil get into here or whatever.
When the crank is spinning around, oil is throwing, and it runs. It can sprinkle into there. That's the idea of that.
Yeah, it's not like an actual pressure line, so our fuel, or for oil, to actually feed it. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right, remember this? We got it all sandblasted. I know we're knee deep into fitting the bearings right now, but I want to give you a look at the sandblasted toolbox here. I'm gonna get ready to go out to get paint. So next time you see this at the end of the video, it'll be all painted up, and we'll put the hardware kit in it, the new knob thing, and that's about all we got to do. Make it, attach it. So other than that, oh yeah, and then fix the hinge. Put a pin in there, wire in there, and make it to where it can't come out. And then it'll be ready down the road when we get ready to put on the bike, when we get ready to start building this thing. So far I'm happy so far on how the bearings are going. Let's go finish them up. Here is the case race lapping tool. I think I got all the parts laid out here. I'm going to go over this just a moment. I'm just going to give you a general idea of what's going on here with all these parts. This is the main line boring tool used to lap the case races, to remove a little bit of material at a time to get the bearings to fit right. And on this right now, there's different ones of these collets here that go into the left crankcase spring, and then you have different lap heads, like this one here. This is the one we're going to probably end up having to use. This is a 58 through 86 lap head, and it's tapered internally, so when it slides on this cone here, built into this rod here, you slowly tighten it up with this wrench, and it causes the head to expand, being able to cut these little cutters on there, to be able to cut into the race a little bit. And this side ends up fitting right where the bearing sits at, and just rides along that, and keeping it straight and true. Now the set, when I bought this years ago when I worked on the 40, we didn't really show this, and when we were working on the 40, it was way before I started video recording and everything. But this is the one we used for the 40. It was a 30 through 54 lap head, and same situation. I haven't opened up this one yet, because this is a 54 or 55 through 57 lap head. But seeing as how my case is the right case is actually a 58, we got to use this bigger one here, because that's the bigger bearings in it on the right side, which is a good thing. I mean, it's better. I mean, they apparently are going that way, because you have this one, then you have this one here, and then it goes to another bigger one. And anyway, so that's kind of the gist of it. Anyways, the bearing on the left side, it fits right inside of the special double Timken roller bearing that goes on the right side, or left side, I'm sorry. And it's a pretty neat bearing too. We'll show you that too when we get ready to start trying to lap this case race. Well, we're getting close here to get ready to start the lapping process, and starting out with the manual over there, it talks about how you need an extra pinion shaft to do this next part, where we want to make sure these bearings just fit in there perfectly because they're individual rollers. This is probably the hardest part about the whole thing. When we put this new race in, of course it's like standard race, so it actually is not standard enough to where it would actually just be, press fit and then it's ready to go. We still have to take material off, is what I'm getting at. So that's where the lapping process means, and you're true in the cases. So we're gonna be going on doing that, but I just wanted to show that this does not fit in there at all. And would you be able to kind of just show that? And this is the tricky part, because these bearings like want to fall out constantly.
I can't even get it. I can almost get it to start right there.
Yeah, maybe because this one bearing moved, but yeah, it's real close, and it's really a small number. It's like 0.0002, so it's very little.
See, it just about starts.
Yeah, so yeah, let's get ready to
get. It's just about in, but it's too tight.
Right. So to do the next step, we got to get these two case halves together, and we got to set up the left side next. We got to press the Timken double roller in here, and we have to install this big ring in here, and then what'll end up happening is the races will get installed, and the spacer between the bearing will get installed, and then we take the bearing parts out. We have to press one onto the flywheel, and we'll have to hold on to one for later when we put this back seal piece in. So, yep, that'll be all coming up. So let's go ahead and get started on that. There we are. We got the race bearing retainer in. And yeah, now we're ready to go press this group in. It should be able to just, well, it's going to be a press fit. So with putting this bearing unit in, we got to make sure we have the races going the right way. The taper goes towards the inside on the bearing that's going the farthest in. Then we have a spacer piece.
And then the other taper's out.
Yeah, the other taper, yeah.
This is the one you laid down?
Yeah, and then you gotta. We have
here.
Yeah, we have
Can't mix them up.
Yeah, we have a spacer here that goes in between.
When we're done.
When we're done, yeah.
This is the inside one. This is the outside one. Okay, so let's go press them in.
There we are. We got both races installed, and we have the spacer inside there. And then now we're ready to mock this up and get this piece in there. The piece for the lapping tool. We have the lapping spacer here installed to the bearing. That's all set up, ready to go. And then we also have the three crankcase studs bolts installed, like the manual says, to make sure this is how we have to set it up when we go to the next step here. Make sure the arbor, the lapping tool there, is actually it's set at 0. I mean, there's no tension on it. And then,
just fits.
Yeah, it just fits in there. And then here's where we get ready to crank it down and then start working our way out. But we gotta get some lapping material on it. This stuff here. And yeah, it's gonna end up getting inside that bushing. That's how it goes. But we're gonna have to clean this crankcase half very thorough when we get done. And we're gonna start really little and work our way up a little bit at a time, and until we can get these bearings. And that's what the procedure is. You gotta do a little bit of time, take it all apart, see if it fits, the bearings fit and all that, and then come back and put it back together and do a little bit more and keep doing that process. So we're gonna show a little bit of the process and then see how much we get figured out here and go from there. We applied a light coat of the lapping compound, And let's see what happens here.
There we go. It's got to go in easy. Now we got to tighten it. We got to tighten it. Tighten this with the wrench like this, but
yeah, I mean, that's how we did it before. It was really a pain in the butt. Essentially, it's just kind of like sanding or grinding on that race just a little bit, just to take a little bit of material off so those rollers fit in really perfect, really nice.
Tighten it some more. You don't have the rollers?
Alright, so we got the lapping tool removed. We just got done cleaning up the race. We're ready to check it for the first time and go from there and see how this goes. No, we can't quite get the pinion shaft in there.
Nope, it ain't gonna go.
So we gotta bore some more. But that's kind of the process. So we'll do this a couple more times and come back. But so far we've found that looking at the race here that there's 3 different ways. There's like we were just talking. There's like we're taking a little bit of material off. Either we're taking some off of one side or not. You can tell that it's not crooked in there, right?
Yeah, well, it don't appear to be. It appears to be an even pattern.
And we would have one high spot on one side and one low spot on the other side if we had it uneven.
Yeah, we don't really appear to have that.
Awesome. Okay, this is our like 7th attempt at freaking holding this thing. So we got the race all cleaned up and we're ready to try it again here. I think we're gonna have it this time. Yeah, it just slides right in.
It got just very minimal play, which is you're supposed to have.
Yeah, awesome. All right, now I'm gonna split this apart, move on to a different segment, different video. Probably work on the flywheels and stuff coming up. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed all this, showing you how to do the line boring and all that stuff. Really happy we got it. So now we're ready to, yeah, like I said, clean this up and finish working on this motor some more. Well, here's the toolbox all painted, ready to go. We just gotta put it back together. And we've got a homemade pin here to slide in there out of nice hard wire. And then, anyways, so let's be in a 55 to 57 toolbox. It has a special wing nut that goes in there and tightens it up, like I was talking about in the beginning. It looks like this. And then there's like a little clip that holds it on. Anyways, I'm gonna end up putting this together. I'm gonna put like a little rubber washer behind this little flange here on here, and then it'll keep from scratching this all up and stuff. And then the threads are painted on this, so it'll work as like a locking tool here on this, or locking resistance, keeping it tight. And if I have a problem with it, I'll probably put like Loctite on it or something. So it should work all right. All right, we got the toolbox all together and it's ready to go on the bike when we get to that point. Looks pretty nice. It's way better looking than that rusty chrome looking one that I had when I first bought this at the Davenport swap meet in 2024. But yeah, this will look awesome on the bike. It'll look correct too. Glad I found a correct toolbox for this bike. Well, I hope you enjoyed everything on getting those bearings to fit in the cases, and hope you enjoyed everything on this toolbox making this thing look great again. Yeah, this was a far better looking toolbox like this than if I would have ran it like it was. And I'm not too worried about the little rubber washer there. It holds tension on the door, the lid, and it keeps it shut tight. And like I was talking about how the paint was in there, it was actually making resistance on the screw. So, and I'm not going to use it functionally as having tools in it. So if for some reason I think that this might fall apart and that clip might not work because the elliptic size opened up hole is bigger than it was, it's got some wear to it. I just put a little Loctite on it, little blue Loctite, and it'll just hold it tight for a long time and it'll look fine. So, well, like I said, I hope you enjoyed everything you saw in this whole video, and there's more to come. Next up, we'll be getting the flywheels inside the cases and doing all that. So that'll be exciting. That's coming up next. So we'll see you again soon.